It looked like somebody was bent over and had their head in the window of the deer blind. It either heard me or smelt me, and he pulled his head out of the tent and stood straight up, and that shocked me. They don't make people that big.
The way it moved, almost as if it was gliding across the beach. I've never seen anything move like that in my life. They were screaming at each other in gibberish. It sounded like a language, and they were chuntering away back and forwards, back and forwards, back and forwards. I know what a bear looks like, and there is no way on this planet that what I saw were bears.
What are you reporting?
Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
Zia!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh.
My name's Mark. I'm from St Albans in the UK, and you're listening to Sasquatch Chronicles.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Got a great show planned for you tonight. I know some of the members are talking about broken links and some of the episodes not working. There's a big, huge workload going on behind the scenes. I'm actually moving servers, and I have an app pretty much ready to go. But I'm kind of holding off until the coronavirus kind of goes away. Before I start getting too crazy with some of this stuff. But that's definitely waiting in the wings, and that should be released soon. So exciting stuff going on. I feel like I need a vacation. I need to take like 2 weeks off and go relax somewhere on some beach. But a lot of cool things going on the back end, so bear with me if some of the episodes aren't playing. There's a reason for that, but all that's being fixed on the back end. I swear, it seems like I do more work on the back end than I do on shows. But cool stuff coming, so bear with me if you would. Tonight we're going to be chatting with Kelly, and Kelly comes to us from Ohio. He had an encounter. He was out with a friend of his back in the late 80s, and they were playing on this property, kind of near a cemetery close by the property, and he saw this creature standing in the woodline just watching him and his friend. The longer he stopped to look at it, the more it realized he was looking at it, and it took off. And then we're going to be chatting with Will, and Will comes to us from Kentucky. He grew up on this property. All of his family members, almost everyone in the family has run into these things. Will never really bought into it until one day he was out, and he came across two of them. Will reminds me a lot of my little brother, man of few words, and he's really nervous about coming on. I'm like, you're among friends. Just tell us what happened. Very cool encounter. And then we will wrap up with Gary. And Gary has actually lived out in Hawaii for many years, but he has traveled so much. He has done crazy things like go from Alaska down to California on bikes. And he's had a couple strange encounters, very strange encounters. If you've had an encounter and you'd like to be on the show, shoot me an email. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. Let's jump into it tonight. I want to welcome Kelly to the show. Kelly, thanks for coming on.
Hey, no problem.
I really appreciate you being here. I know we talked a little bit about your encounter yesterday, but if you would just kind of start from the very beginning. When did this happen? Where did it happen? And what did you see?
So this, and I'm just kind of guesstimating, but I believe it was around summer of '88. I was around 15 or so, and live here in Logan, Ohio, which is Hocking County. And me and a friend were out playing, just laughing, having a good time. I felt this incredible sense of being watched come over me, and like every hair on my body stood up. Like not like a general, like, sometimes the hair on your arm stands up or something. This just felt like every hair I had stood up, and I never experienced anything like that before, and I had no idea what was going on. And just a super strange feeling. And I looked up, and we're playing probably about 20 yards or so from a decent sized patch of woods, and we were probably, let's say, about 200 yards from a cemetery that's adjacent to my friend's property. I look up and I just see this, impossibly large black figure standing there. I couldn't really make out like features or hardly anything like that. It was just super tall, super wide, and just a super dark hair. And it was just standing there, and it was not really moving or making noise or anything. It was just standing there watching us, like it'd been curious about, what we were doing or why we were laughing and having a good time. And after a few seconds, once I finally noticed that it was standing there, then it noticed that I was looking at it. And we just sort of made this sort of, not really like eye contact, like I said, because I couldn't really see its eyes, but we sort of made this contact for a few seconds that we both realized that we were looking at each other. And, I had no idea what it was, or, this was back in the day. So I had, we barely had television. So I didn't know, I don't think anything really at all about Bigfoot. And so I didn't, have anything to use to try to figure out what this thing was. And after, I don't know how many seconds of this little stare down, it sort of turned and not really like trotted away, but kind of, the long gait, the arm swinging, and it took off at a fast pace. And behind where the tree line is, just I'd say after about 40 yards, it goes down this steep hill into like a valley and then a creek bed. So just like in a few seconds, it was out of sight and down the hill, and I could hear something, crashing through the woods. I mean, it wasn't loud like you would think for something of that size, but it, was still, I could hear leaves crunching and like stepping on sticks and maybe some small limbs snapping in the trees and whatnot. But it took off, and I didn't know, had no clue what was going on. My friend, I think he was kind of in shock too. I haven't really, wouldn't really associate much since, the school days. So I don't really know, but what his thoughts are. But I thought, well, I'm seeing things, I'm making something up that, I didn't, trying to rationalize something else in my mind. So after a brief period of time, I walked over to where it had been standing in the tree line. Sure enough, there was very large impressions in the weeds where you could tell something big and heavy had been standing there and crushed all these weeds down. And there was kind of a